So we talked about this a little bit of the auctions and just the different opportunities that a true friend and I embarked on. And one of them was the real estate, right? Now, if I knew then what I know now, we would have expedited the process. However, I'm glad that I did learn the way that we did learn, because we learned from the bottom. And I told everybody I want to understand the gutter first, right? Because if I understand the gutter, then I understand it from the bottom up, right? And that's a whole nother conversation about why sometimes I like to approach things from the bottom and not look like, I almost prefer to struggle, right? You learn more in the struggle than you learn when it's easy. And if you don't understand the gutter, then when you get to the top, you might miss certain things, right? You might not see an opportunity that you would see if you're only taught one way. But if you understand the entire spectrum of things, then it's just more advantageous for you and your partners. So a good friend and I, or a true friend and I, we, as I said in the introduction, when we spent hours and hours and hours learning about Spartanburg real estate, like all of their tax properties, we organized them all. We went and looked at them all. Our best deals that we found that worked best for us turned out to be 2 acres of land, right? And it was literally in our surroundings. So let me explain. At one point in time, we had it had one property, which was 8 acres. Then down the road, probably 2 minutes walk, there was, it would be on the left. Then we had another 2 acres right there, or about 1.5 acres. And then across the street from there is where we got another 2 acres for $600, right? Through the county. Now, another one of the properties was adjacent or touching the 8 acres. So we had a decent amount of area or space in one general vicinity. Now, the other property we found, now I wish we had got both of them, but we ended up getting one property for $3,800. So while everyone is, complaining about housing or expenses or whatever it is, it wasn't Eric Johnson who found this property. It was a true friend in Eric Johnson who found this property. This is why it wasn't just my property. It was actually 3 of our properties. And so the property, again, like I said, if I knew then what I know now, I'd still have the property. But I went into the property as only thinking about how can I live down here without paying any money, right? In an upgrade from living in the bushes or living in the other property that didn't have anything. So what's this important? So through that, and through sitting down and really looking through different properties and different opportunities, we've been able to benefit, right? So fast forward a few years, and through finding the gutter, I found this house. It was on the market and it was a foreclosed house. I bought it for $270,000. And we both, right after I signed on it, me and the good friend came down here, and lo and behold, that's literally what he went to school for. Because I kind of forgot to mention this in the previous chapter, so I'm going to mention it right here. And this is why it was so beautiful about him coming to class with me, because it inspired him to go take classes at the local community college. Now, if you remember my son, right, from when we first met on Chuns Cove Road, it also inspired him to also take classes up at the local community college. So when you have a lot of social media wanting to spew this absolutely ridiculousness that education is stupid and don't go to college and you don't need it and it's a waste of time, and that's fine. I'm glad that people are stupid enough to believe that. However, The things that I learned were priceless. The things that a true friend learned were also priceless. Now, my son, he didn't really take it serious enough. He wasn't really truly committed. He just kind of committed because he was a kind of a follow leader. I was in school, true friend was in school, and so he figured he might as well go to school, but he didn't take it serious, and so he quit relatively fast. However, a true friend went through and endured. And why does this matter? Because when we came and I bought this house, he immediately walked around, analyzed it, and he went for like housing and houses and things, and gave me an explanation of how much this house will be worth in a couple of years. And lo and behold, it's worth right around what we were guesstimating. And we're both looking at it and like, okay, it's probably going to be worth a little bit more. So, I mean, to put it on respects, it's basically more than doubled from when I bought it, and it was 3 years. So going through the gutter with somebody, and then now this is going to take us into the future, right? So I got a couple more deals that I'm working on right now. Hopefully they go through. If they don't, then we'll start back at the drawing board like we've done a billion times before. But if they work, then going through the gutter, it's given us an opportunity, because now I understand the business a hell of a lot more than I did a few years back. But using all that information that I learned from the time where the true friend and I would sit in a car and go look at the properties and understand the different nuances of, I want to say real estate, poor people's real estate. And the reason I say poor people's real estate, because I didn't understand leverage, right? So we were literally trying to find things for the absolute cheapest that we could buy for nothing, right? Hence the reason why we got 2 acres of land, which I later sold for $6,000 or something like that. I made a decent profit off of that. The house, it served its purpose. I hadn't again, like I didn't know now. Like, you know, when you say, I wish I knew then what I know now, right? Exactly one of those situations. And it goes for all 3 parties who were on that house, because we just gave the house up when we didn't really have to, and it'd be an upstairs, downstairs, double rental property, you know, cash flow, upstairs and downstairs. But again, I did not know. I was stupid. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I didn't know what I was doing. But through that, little by little, I've learned a hell of a lot more, thank God. And so that gives us the opportunity to take the knowledge that we learned on how to purchase things for basically nothing, even when it goes to when we're doing with the auctions, right? Like, it's people look at me like, well, why do you don't go shopping? No, I don't go shopping. Why would I go shopping when I know how I can buy a pound of clothes for like $5 a pound, right? Opposed to, let me give that, there's 7 t-shirts basically in a pound, right? 7. And I'm paying $5 for it, and you can barely go to Walmart and pay for that, like some Hanes t-shirts, right? And then, yeah, I get a lot of clothes I don't want, but then I sell them and I make my money back, and then I keep what I do want, right? Or jewelry, or anything that you name. The two of us have intensely studied where we can find it the cheapest, right? So, give for example, books, baseball cards, coins, watches, shoes. These are all different things that we've sold. General merchandise. I mean, we've literally became a mini Walmart with what we know, what we can get. Those ideas are much more labor intensive than the two of us would have liked. That's why they haven't branched out as we would have liked at the moment. But again, like I've said, a true friend, and there's a picture, there's a chapter in this. It's called Bigger Picture, and I don't want to talk too much about it right now because it'll bring us into the next chapter of Bigger Picture, right? A true friend can sit next to you for hours and have no proof that anything that you guys are talking about will ever happen, right? But to be able to look out of that car and look in front of you, out of your mirror, or your windshield, just look in front of you, right? And be able to both envision the same thing, even though it doesn't even exist yet, right? A true friend can see the same thing that you see, even though it does not exist, and believe in the same thing that you believe in, even though it doesn't exist. But key thing here, a true friend is also going to push you to get there. Right now, it's very easy to, oh yeah, we both imagine private airplanes and yachts and mansions, right? But then let's go play video games. Yeah, that's not a true friend. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying someone who will sit next to you for hours, 12 hours a day, not 5 days, 7 days a week, to understand the market in not just houses, not just gardening, like growing and hydroponics, aeroponics, aquaponics, cooking, because because we're always cooking while we're sitting here, so we're always trying different things, and I already discussed that. We'll try tree bark, we'll try anything to cook with to kind of see if it gives us a different flavor. Smoke it with pine needles. Well, not really the best thing for you, so don't do that. But it turned out really good. Had its own natural sweetness to it. It was really good. Trying different foods, like he wasn't as adventurous, but eating squirrel or whatever, cooking. So like really diving into it, because when we're around each other, we're grab the craziest thing that we can see and then see how we can cook it, right? And see which way we can cook it, right? Auctions. We've made plenty of money buying and selling cars, going through the flea market, going to the flea market, setting up flea markets, selling merchandise there. We haven't got into animals yet. That's our next great escapade, is jumping into animal auctions. So having a true friend that can see the vision that you see, even though it doesn't even exist yet. So that's with the houses and with the auctions, and that leads us really into the next portion of all this, which is more of the grand vision of what a true friend is, and how can you find yourself a true friend, and how can you tell if you have a true friend or if you just have a true pretender, right?